Well, let's go into game 2 and see if Papis can pull up the same sort of fight, if not better one. Do we expect any changes for them in picks and bans? Because I actually kind of like their picks and bans. I don't think they did anything that wrong.
No, I would like to see them do this. Take away Fafnir from EmilZy.
That's a good point. That's a good point. They didn't do anything wrong, apart from give EmilZy Fafnir.
And that's tough, because just the amount of CC, mobility, objective control, Fafnir can really do it all out of that support role. I like the Papis taking that Fafnir off the board. I honestly wouldn't have minded them going into that, staying in that second pick position, but it's so difficult to be in second pick right now. Now Obey's got a very tough call. What do you ban away in this scenario?
Ganesha or Ravana or Susano. Okay, so Ravana and Ganesha are open here. It's one of the first times I've seen Ganesha get through in Europe so far.
But so is Serket. I mean, Serket, and that's something that Obey has played really, really well. It is going to be the Ganesha here for Dracomarino, and I've got no problem with this pick, but now you're allowing Obey to potentially pick Serket the Morgan.
Oh, there's a lot of things.
Yeah, there's plenty on the board.
Raven's the first thing that came to my mind when you look at Bologna Osiris ban, you think Raven. And the Naja was banned out by Papis last game. This time around, Obey will go to it.
Man, Obey really likes that Naja right now. I mean, Naja receiving some recent buffs, getting that extra toss, the bounce off the universe ring toss. But I still think Naja is one of those gods that's just so risky. The risk reward is very steep.
I get you, but at the same time, Twig is the one that's been a proponent of like pushing this god time and time again. He's always been the one that's brought it into meta, and everyone's like, oh, this works again.
Yeah.
And he's going to try and do it one more time.
I think Twig just likes to have fun. I think Twig, you know, he wants to win, but he also wants to win by playing gods he has fun on.
I pulled a face then, and it wasn't a face that like you're wrong about that. It was more to do with the fact that why was Obey picking some Wukong there? Why some Wukong so early?
Because they don't want to Robin into the solo lane, I'm supposing. They really think that he's more of a jungler than a solo laner at this stage, and Wukong, clearly the god that maniaKK wants to put a little bit of time into. Osiris is getting banned away from maniaKK every game.
That's true.
He's never seeing Osiris again, as far as I'm concerned. So you may as well have another warrior that you can pick early on and feel comfortable with in basically any matchup.
Well, Sol picked up for the Papis here. Sol's a nice pick against Naja. It's one of the reasons I think we saw the Sol pick here. Yeah. Disapparate avoids a lot of the damage coming out from Naja's ultimate if you can time it right.
Exactly, and really the big thing is it prevents the follow-up whenever you come crashing down from that Naja ultimate, as long as you're in that Disapparate form. As well as the fact that Sol is just good. Sol is just an outright good character right now.
Burst damage, survivability,
sustain. I'm trying to do this Hindu.
Oh, sorry.
Tower siege, objective damage. I mean, Sol is just really solid in that mid lane right now.
Can I talk now?
Yeah, come back in.
Cool. Terra locked in for Obey. It's quite surprising when you think about all the Guardians and you're like, oh, wait a second, Terra is alive and this is EmilZy. So we talked about, oh, wait, they gave him Fafnir. Well, they kind of had to give him Terra. Because
and Ataraxia Cernunnos. Because you have to ban away you have to ban Vulcan.
You're right.
Away from PrettyPriMe, especially with that Naja setup. The Morgan, you don't want to give it to him, but Ataraxia for me has been the Cernunnos that's really impressed me most with his play. Yeah. Really seems to be the most comfortable with that kit. Very scary, this draft from Obey, but I like the Papis draft as well. You've got early game between the Nike, Raven. Ganesh is excellent in that early game as well. Ganesh can help you burn the Gold Fury very quickly, make sure that Sol and Rama are getting their gold and late game items a little bit quicker, and their late game is phenomenal between the Nike passive Sol and Ram. This is a solid draft from the Papis.
Not down for their engage, though. Their engage is very lackluster, and that's my biggest problem with this.
I don't know if I agree, because Nike's engage is really solid out of the support. I mean, you can jump in with the quick jump.
It's leap from Nike, it's leap from Raven, or it's the elephant running at you at a million miles an hour.
But they can contest with the poke that Obey has. Obey has excellent poke with that universe ring toss, as well as a Sun Wukong, but they don't have a lot of poke out of the mid lane. Nox is a full commit sort of mid lane mage, but the Papis have plenty of poke between the Ram. You've got Creed throwing those Rens out, but Ojoboom is the one to keep an eye on his damage in the middle of these team fights. Not necessarily the burst, but just how much poke he can put out. Obey does have a little bit of sustain with that Terra, but Terra is like the bottom end of sustained characters in terms of how much healing they bring to your team.
It's more CC control than anything else, not necessarily the amount of sustain that comes through. Obviously, the ultimate is the one that people notice more than the actual healing from Monolith now.
Yes.
Mid lane, PrettyPriMe and Twig. Nox and Naja is a combo that I've been looking forward to seeing more and more of because they combine so well. The 2-1 from PrettyPriMe into the 3-1 from Twig, or the 1-3, really allows each other to set up well at the start of the game. And once again, Papis do the same thing of pressuring mid with Creed.
I'm interested to see how well PrettyPriMe can lay down that Siphon Darkness and if he can time that one with the Naja ultimate, because that is a kind of odd timing window. But if there's any team that could do it, it's these guys. Remember, when CaptainTwig was moving into the jungle out of mid, Naja was the character that everyone was like, okay, this guy can jungle this god, and then the other ones we'll try and get there whenever we get there. But and PrettyPriMe is so comfortable on the Nox as well. That's plenty of burst damage, even without your mage having to commit an ultimate.
Well, this time around, Dracomarino playing the Ganesha. He played Kefri last game, started off with Hand of the Gods. Now, he started things off with Sunder, whereas EmilZy going for the Frenzy. Last game, he wasn't on the Frenzy. That was CaptainTwig. Obey are telling us they like Frenzy here.
No Sunders for the first relic rotation here. Only one in total, and that's onto the Ganesh. And I like it on Ganesh because he just brings so much damage out of that support role.
With the ultimate more than anything else. Dheylo's in trouble there. Oh, the ring toss did so much work. Respect Naja's authority, Creed. Gotta look for the pickup kill, though. The juke boots are so good with the speed buff as well. And with Prime turning up, Ojoboom has stayed around too long. And he's down for the second kill of this game.
The speed buff coming up big there, as well as that increased movement speed from the ring, from the universe ring toss. Still probably not there for Twig, but the speed buff was enough. Jukes out that Teller burst from Ojoboom. And like you mentioned, you gotta respect Naja in the early game. That ring toss just shreds through Dheylo.
Especially with just an additional bounce. That's just an increase of damage so much. And the blue stone pendant as well, don't forget. Creed under pressure in this right inside. They're gonna dive the tower, the ring toss, and the ring toss comes into play again, bouncing off the archers. Giving some extra damage for maniaKK to pick up the kill with his own blue stone pendant.
3 kills in about 2 minutes for Obey, and I think this is a little bit more similar to what a lot of people were expecting in this matchup. Obey this time around not giving the Papis an opportunity to farm up safely in the early game like they did in game 1. Honestly, I think that comes down to how well the Papis played in game 1, and Obey realizing that they had to play this. Yeah, they had to play this with a ton of respect.
I actually had a song in my head straight away when I saw the scoreline of you just talking then, is there may be trouble ahead, and it's going to be for the Papis, I think, because you are right, Obey have stepped it up all of a sudden. Start of this game has gone their way, but they've gone for a bit of an earlier game draft. You know, with the likes of a Naja, it provides so much pressure in the early game, not denying Ravana can't do the same thing, mind you, but Naja with the ring toss and the sash can set up so much for the damage dealers.
That's true, as great silence there. Dracomarino interrupts the dash from
really
EmilZy,
nice.
Which means that the clear is going to go the Papis' way. Now Ataraxia in some trouble.
Late.
Purification bead was too late.
It was late, but he might get away unless the snipes from Warchi raid home. Warchi the god comes into play. His name isn't Marvels, he's the European version.
Great play there out of the duo lane, not only because of Warchi. Twig finds 2 in the jungle. That's exactly where you want to fight as Obey.
Primal, great block from Dheylo, whether intentional or not, saves the life of Ojoboom, who was definitely going to go down.
Without a doubt in my mind, great play there out of Dheylo. Well, as you mentioned, either intentional or not, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got if you block that shot, you saved the day. So even if it's unintentional, you're like, yeah, I did that on purpose.
Oh, of course.
So you give credit to the player.
And he gets credit here, absolutely. And 3 ultimates used there by Obey. Not only the Nox and the Naja ultimate, but EmilZy used that Terra's Blessing as well. And to come out with no kills, did get the purification beads out of Ojoboom, so not an entire loss for them, but good response out of the Papis.
Scariest thing about that, though, is how big the level difference was between PrettyPriMe and Ojoboom during that gank. It was level 4 versus level 6. Good news is Ojoboom now has hit level 5, but there's still a 2-level disparity in the mid lane between these mages.
And that's what you expect whenever you get 2 assists for PrettyPriMe, or an assist, I should say, on that right-hand side, and your mid laner falls. Difficult to try and fight into that, but Warchi has got himself a slight lead over here on the left-hand side, and I'd like to see Dheylo come over and really try and punish Ataraxia. Could be Dracomarino as well, between that Ganesh ultimate, the 1 and the Sunder.
Sure.
Probably enough to get that kill with Warchi.
Well, Dracomarino and Dheylo and the Papis trying to take down the Elementals and do so, but the bad news is, around the back came maniaKK, and Ojoboom's forced out. He's still being pressured. Creed leaps to his defense, though, to give him a bit of a window of chance to escape. And it creates the room, but it does expose the speed buff.
And that's exactly what Obey wants to do. Whether they get the kill there or the speed buff, they're taking one or the other, and that's what's really separated Obey from not only, you know, their opposition here in Europe, but really across the world, is that they were the first, in my mind, to really start to fight for a reason and put you in positions where you're either giving up a buff or an objective, or giving up kills and then giving up the objective after that. They really understand how to press the buttons correctly, figuratively I mean, in order to put you in a spot where you have to give up something. That time around, it's a speed buff.
Well, you saw the left-hand side. Warchi was considering for a second doing the oracles just before we saw Obey come over, but I don't think he liked the situation of his team being so low health and unable to help him out. Under the tower goes Twig very early on. Oh my goodness, Prime, that was a human being! That was brutal!
not like this, dude. Ojoboom gets caught trying to help. Dheylo was not focused on what was right in front of him, and Prime plays dodgeball with Ojoboom and then immediately just transfers over and kills Dheylo.
Oh, Ataraxia could be in trouble. Nice silence from Draco to buy time. Beats force on Ataraxia again. Warchi still doesn't have the rollout available, trying to lock him down low enough though. Trap him inside for the snipes. Clean him up, boys. Last hit will not find her home. And I don't think it would have been enough to bring him down, but the bad news is the ring toss boy's back. It's Twig and EmilZy.
And Ataraxia is going to find Draco. Warchi on the run, but he's not going to be able to get away from this one. 2 kills in the duo lane. EmilZy's going to get the one onto Warchi. Just a little bit too much aggression there from the Papis. I like the idea. As I said, I'd like to see the Papis play aggressive in that duo lane to try and keep Warchi up, because that's their win condition right now. Ojoboom already very far behind in mid. You could say the same about Dheylo in the jungle. Creed's okay in the solo lane, but he's even 2 levels down, probably about a level after this wave. Warchi was the one who was even, so good recognition from the Papis to try and get over there and help him out, but if you don't get the kill and then you get double killed because of it, that's real tough.
Creed was baiting Maniac pretty well there, got some nice damage in response, and I was a little bit worried about why he was hanging around the way he was, but maybe it was because he knew Dheylo was on the way too. Bad news for Dheylo, and the Papis is Maniac's got it warded.
Sure does, and he has his ultimate, so no real kill potential there for the Papis, who's still sitting on just 1 kill. Maniac gonna juke out that route, really wants this final wave. He's got a health pot ticking, so he's not too worried about it.
He's also got 3 kills to his name early on, and as a Sun Wukong, it's a nice situation to be in as any solo laner, but a Sun Wukong too, getting a level lead of your opposition means you get to put more poke out for free, and also have less issues of being weakened by the damage output.
Gotta give shout-outs to CaptainTwig there as well, and that double kill in the mid lane.
Oh, the trap.
We talked about PrettyPriMe, but that ring toss to slow down Dheylo directly into the ultimate also slowed Ojoboom to guarantee the shot out of Prime. Really, that was just a flashy play out of a mid jungle that have worked very well together.
And this is a standard play you'll expect to see when people leave the Gold Fury exposed and Ganesha on the enemy team. Great play from the Papis. Obey just caught sleeping.
There's nothing, and I don't even know if even if they were there, there's a whole lot they can do against that. Just so much immediate damage onto that objective between the probably the 2 best ultimates at burning objectives right now. The Soul Ultimate and the Ganesh.
Yep.
That Gold Fury just gonna get torn through.
And Obey will find out the bad news. Not if they don't check the scoreboard, the gold at the top, they would have seen it. But here's a defense from Warchi at the red buff if he can secure that, and he will do so for himself and the Papis too, giving the opportunity now for him to go and pick it up as Obey back away.
I like that play out of Warchi, making sure that he's just trying to keep up and farm with Ataraxia. A lot of players may say, oh, you know, you ulted a buff to secure it, but before 10 minutes, I would ult for a buff every single time, if I can guarantee it. That farm from the buff...
It's because she's actually here for a change, right?
No, sometimes the minions are real quick and juke away from me.
Maniac a little bit too far forward, and now the cloud has been used, and look what's waiting for him. Dheylo is hunting like a predator right now, looking for him, but he's going to reset, worried about the rotation coming out from Obey. Obey, we're very quick on the response there.
But that's good for the Papis. They got 2 ultimates for 1 in that scenario. Warchi left alone on this left-hand side with Ataraxia. Has the red buff, but Ataraxia doesn't, but Ataraxia has his Ichabod finished.
Right-hand side, Twig pressure with Maniac once again. They really want to pressure the tier 1 tower more than anything else. Obviously, the health pool of the minions means that they won't be able to get too much poke off into Dheylo for free before the minions run out.
PrettyPriMe is sitting at level 11. Right now, still 2 levels up.
I can't get over what he did to Ojoboom in the mid lane. I felt so bad for him because what he did was Ojoboom was attracted towards Twig as Twig was doing this to Dheylo, but this time it's to Creed. Creed will escape, and Dheylo going to try and punish Twig for this as well, trying to buy a moment as he ults, but I don't think he hit the ult, or was it the Aegis that saved him?
The Aegis saved Twig there in that scenario, but now there's 2 grouped up, and this is exactly what Naja wants. 2 people next to each other. Good split there, but Dheylo's still in a lot of trouble.
Silence again from Draco to stop the dash from EmilZy, and EmilZy's in trouble as they leap in now. The damage coming out from Ojoboom is good, but he's better from Prime. Tick, 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 and Creed will fall down, as will EmilZy. Prime now out of mana though, so that makes it a 2-for-1.
Draco comes in again and makes a big play, this time in the solo lane.
That kid's good.
This guy is really impressing me. His game 1 was amazing on the Khepri, has done just as well here in game 2 on this Ganesh, on 2 different styles of characters, really. Really impressive play out of this rookie support.
I tell you what, though, I don't think we'll see this go this way again with Draco, because now the team's starting to recognize and see the ability of some of these guys. You get a name for yourself, right? And if the casters are going, hey, you're doing well, then people will focus you. People
true.
take away your god pulls. People, because we're like, casters are technically the overall seeing things of like last minute seeing it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're the last line of defense, and if we can recognize it, then everybody knows it.
I mean, if we can see it, it's got to be painfully obvious.
Because we're idiots.
We sure are. No doubt about that one.
I can't follow that up because I'm just going to let it sit, 'cause it's true.
Exactly. I just wanted to let it breathe a little bit.
I get paid to cast video games.
But we're still idiots, don't forget.
I am an idiot, though, but it's great news. Right-hand side, Creed was trying to defend the red buff there, but he was stolen yet again. Sorry, the speed buff, I should say, but it was stolen yet again by Obey, who've had it on lockdown since the start of the game, realistically. And they continue to try and abuse this right-hand side of the map. Why is it the right-hand side of the map they want to focus on? Is it because they rely on Ataraxia to be able to do this?
It's because maniaKK got 3 kills early on,
Okay.
and maniaKK just gets to do whatever maniaKK wants on that right-hand side. Creed's a little bit behind, and if you can keep a Nike down, prevent anyone from the Papis getting closer to that level 20 mark, try to keep that Nike passive down for as long as you can.
Speaking about the Nike passive, you've got a few more things to have to get for the Papis here to get the over. Laurel's online for the extra movement speed that'll come into play.
Not only the extra movement speed, but the extra power as well.
Sure.
Still need 7 more kills. Got to have 10 kills for your team. Already completed the minion kills. You can see the little Laurel across the board there for everybody on the Papis, but also need 2 members to hit level 20, and still a little bit of ways away from that. The same goes for Obey, though, so the Papis not too far behind in that department.
Well, the Pole Demon's available. Been up for about 2 minutes now. And you can see Papis are sneaking around there again with Ganesha. It's a tasty sight for them, but they're going to make sure nobody responds like EmilZy, and Dheylo's going to catch him around the side. EmilZy wasn't looking the right direction. No silence available this time for Draco to be able to stop EmilZy, and now Dheylo's the one a little bit too far forward.
But Prime misses the combination, so Dheylo not going to take a massive chunk of damage there, just able to escape that Siphon Darkness.
Yeah, he eats a bit of poke back as well, does Maniac. Blue buff is available for Papis, so they're going to strip that one away before Obey can turn up. But Obey has pressure around the mid lane if they want it. Instead, they're still camping around the Portal Demon. They're going to pull it.
Only Creed and Dheylo really that close right now. Ojoboom starting to make his way, but the frenzy popped from Obey. It's going to be plenty of damage on this objective.
The walls were waiting as well, and Dheylo goes in just a little bit too late, but the damage is good, and Twig could be in trouble here. Heals early on as Creed now joins the fray to slow them down once more. Maniac still running for his life, I should say that, but that was a clone. Still, CaptainTwig is alive, but now finally goes down.
And Ojoboom's the one with the kill. Prime's going to answer back, though. 3 dead for the Papis. Obey find the mid, the jungle, and the soul laner. Only the duo lane still stands.
And all for Twig. I mean, Twig lived so long there. He got some good peel, and even on the left-hand side, Warchi won't even be able to get that tier 1 tower that he stuck around for, which I thought was a decent idea, because Maniac's there with a teleport.
It does get some good damage onto it, but as you mentioned, Warchi can't quite find it. Now Obey making the rotation to the left-hand side. A little bit too risky to go for the Fire Giant with Dracomarino there.
Here we go. Once again, snipes are out, and the reset is called for Prime. It secures the Gold Fury. Warchi will not be able to steal that one away, sadly enough.
Very close. You know, I was talking, I think it was with the Energy guys. I'm surprised we don't see more ROMs when they're trying to steal Gold Furies away like that. Shoot the first 2 shots at their feet and then use the final most damaging shot.
To surprise them?
Exactly. Because that first shot really doesn't do that much damage. It's pretty difficult to secure it with the first shot of Astral Barrage, but that third shot has a ton of surprise damage that teams often don't see coming. I think that could be something that we see ROM start to do.
Nice idea there. Nice idea. Or is it because you've missed 2 shots in a row and then, you know, hit the third one and you want everyone else to do the same thing?
I swear, Gold Fury's movement speed is too high, man. We got to bring that thing down.
It is. I mean, Amaterasu can only kite it for half an hour. Like, it's terrible.
I mean, Amaterasu completely worthless outside of kiting the Gold Fury. Everyone knows that.
Pretty much it. Same with Ganesha. Pretty worthless outside of the Gold Fury. Twig in trouble. Sorry, not in trouble, I should say. Goes aggressive onto Creed, but eats more than he should have. And in the end, he does end up in trouble. Maniac, though, on the front lines, they don't want to contest the level 14 Sun Wukong, who's full health right now. Specifically when this build is online, that makes him very tanky and hard to deal with.
I like the idea from the Papis, though, to back up. Even with Twig down, he's got that shifter shield, so now he's got increased protections under 50% HP.
Got to be a little bit careful here, Papis, because trying to run down Twig's difficult because the ring toss will come into play as we watch Warchi versus Ataraxia. The fight on the right side still going on as Twig trying to close the gap here. There's the ultimate coming out from Ganesh, trying to support for Draco as Dheylo ults in place. Maniac on the cloud early on. Creed shield's not got much time left. This is an interesting fight. I'm not sure who's on top.
Draco's still pretty healthy, but Maniac is level 14 and continues to push everybody from the Papis out. This is why Obey is stuck on this right side consistently. That fight was very even. Papis actually came out a little bit on top of his overall HP. until maniaKK showed up.
Nice combination onto Dracomarino, but it's not enough to bring him down just yet, and Creed's still there to keep him standing. But round the back, here comes the Portuguese powerhouse to make sure Creed does not get away, or will he? Minions, the blue buff minions? No, not enough damage.
Shouts to that Mark of the Vanguard, making sure Creed doesn't take too much damage from the minions in that scenario.
But the tier 1 tower on the right should fall down here. I don't think he's going to be able to get back in time. Creed's teleport will not come through. Obey extend their gold lead just a little hair more.
And keeps maniaKK on the pressure on that right-hand side. Left-hand side, Ataraxia's got a 2-level lead for himself. Decides not to follow Warchi with that dash.
And it has been a lane of just let them farm it out. They've not really had much involvement in the game so far. Most of the action, if not all the action, has happened on the right-hand side of the map outside of the Gold Fury that have gone down so far.
One for each team, and that's one of the reasons why Papis are still in this one. And if they could find a quick Gold Fury as soon as it respawns, that could be a way for them to get back into it with between, again, the Ganesha ultimate and the Soul ultimate. That's so much damage that you can't really account for on the side of Obey. They need to be there as soon as the Gold Fury spawns if they want to stop it. The problem with the Papis is they'd probably need someone on the right-hand side to make sure Obey isn't just taking a Fire Giant in response.
Talking about damage output, PrettyPriMe in the mid lane right now, 5, 0, and 2. His player damage is only at 4.7k. What do you think about this build, though, that PrettyPrime's gone for? That's crazy power, but it's like pretty expensive, right?
Very expensive, but he's got a 2-level lead, and he's got a big lead in terms of gold worth as well,
Sure.
So I don't mind it too much. Really going to transition well into the late game because he doesn't need a whole lot of extra expensive items outside of what he already has. Only Rod of Tahuti should be that expensive now. Can work towards Spear of the Magus or an Obsidian Shard. Neither of those are particularly expensive. Then you've got that Rod, which is pretty expensive, but you can finish it off with something as simple as a Bancroft's Talent after that, and you've got plenty of power for you.
Well, Ojoboom in the mid lane, his lane up position is PrettyPriMe, and he's been quite quiet so far this game, I'd say. Game 1, we saw a lot more out of him on that Scylla. This time, he's having to run for his life most of the time, so it kind of makes sense that you're not talking about him too much.
And that's, again, goes back to that engagement on the first speed buff where it's Obey finding 2 kills very, very quickly. Soul is a great character when ahead, and a very good character when even. From behind, it can be difficult to be relevant in terms of damage.
Well, now it's question time for Warchi and the Papis. Does he go for the tier 2, or does he fall back to support his team? He does get the ultimate, so the teleport out of maniaKK here, which means he's going to manually have to run back safely. As now, Papis starting to pressure a little bit in the mid lane here.
And now it's Creed, first one in. Dheylo the first to follow. Now it's the Papis continuing to push forward, but all of a sudden, Obey with Twig coming around the back, they start to take it.
Got him in the sky. When he lands, he's going to die. Creed gets taken out by PrettyPriMe. Now Dracomarino forced down the right-hand side, on the left-hand side too. Still in the jungle, Warchi versus maniaKK, and Warchi's having a good time of it. Takes this guy time to avoid the clone, but I tell you what, if he comes down early, maniaKK's gonna slap his head.
Ataraxia finds Ojoboom. The Aegis is good for Warchi, but again, it's the duo lane of the Papis, the only ones left standing. Everyone from Obey is pretty low, but in scenarios like this, the Portal Demon is a team's best friend. You got 5 members that can DPS this very, very quickly. Go back to base, use the portal, start up the Fire Giant before anyone from the Papis even respawns.
Thinking about it more now, we've got like 3 sets of nationalities in the dual lane. When you think about it, you've got the Spanish guys on Papis in the dual lane. Then you've got Burritos, Russian powerhouses, and you got the Frenchies too over on Elevate. So nice little mixture of all these like little dual lanes of nationalities.
Nationality very apparently helps you out in terms of lane synergy, because all 3 of those
communication
lanes, have a lot of potential. Particularly, I mean, the Bruise Brothers have been around for a long time. They've been doing it for quite some time, but this dual lane from the Papis is definitely showing me that they've got some potential.
Definitely. Warchi's always been around there. He's recognized as one of the biggest Spanish streamers and gets a lot of viewership. A lot of people love watching his streams as an entertainer for sure. And because of that, the fans are passionate. Spanish fans are always passionate about everything they do. And even like seeing the Papis finally get to the Pro League, they're all, backing them every step of the way, even against teams like Obey, who Obey are pretty much favorites from a lot of people's point of view over in Europe as well.
For my money, I still think they're the best team in the world right now. I mean, I don't think there was a whole lot of doubt during the spring split. And even with finding 2 splits early on here in summer, they still have that potential to really go off at any given time. And their opposition has been very strong between Energy and the new look Enix.
I can see what the Papis were trying to do with a bit of split push antics, but they're going to lose a Phoenix for free here in the mid lane, especially against a Fire Giant team of the Papis. I think Obey are going to wait for a Papis to initiate though, and that's what they've done. Dheylo went in, already used all his escape potential, the rooted in place. There's a nice ult from PrettyPriMe as well to hit onto Warchi. maniaKK still running down Dheylo.
And CaptainTwig's got someone up in the sky. maniaKK does find Dheylo. Ultimate from Ojoboom is there. there and puts a decent amount of damage into CaptainTwig, trying to get away, but Draco cannot.
Nope, Phoenix will fall in the mid lane. Warchi, Creed, and Ojoboom pinned in their fountain. Instead of going for the win here, Obey going to take the safer option in agreement and go for this tier 2 tower on the right-hand side. Just continue to extend and strangle the Papis a little bit more.
No way that Obey could have ended there with how many towers are still standing on the map. You got the tier 2 and right, and then 2 towers in that duo lane. Warchi's lost neither one thus far. So that Titan would have been far too tanky, had a little bit too much HP. And the respawn timers really aren't that long. We're only 21 minutes in. Dheylo and Dracomarino ready to respawn right about now anyways. I like Obey's call to just take the safer route, get that 1,500 gold, strip away the speed and blue buff on that right-hand side, and now continue their siege probably on the left.
I mentioned about, Obey trying to strangle the Papis and continue to put the pressure on them. How long has that been going on? Is it?
Ataraxia's crits are massive right now.
Oh, the bait! The bait might save him.
Boom.
The ball, the Aegis. Was that the Aegis that saved him from the damage from the boy? It did. Great use of the Aegis from Ojoboom to ignore the damage, and good reinforcement from Papis. But going back to it, the strangle on the Papis now, was that all from the beginning of the game with Twig? Like, the aggression at level 1, 2?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I said, Naja's all risk reward, and that was the big reward. Wherever you take a fight like that at level 2, you get multiple ring bounces on 2 members and just shred their protections, does a ton of damage as well. That's just one of those scenarios where Naja can absolutely win you a game very early on. Obviously, that isn't the only factor. maniaKK got a lot of kills, and Obey did a good job of putting the pressure on that right-hand side and allowing maniaKK to continue to push down Creed. But you gotta say, Boom gets knocked down in that mid lane all by himself.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened there because we didn't catch it on the camera. Obey, though, still trucking down the left-hand side too. 5 minions from the middle lane. And now 4 members of the Papis with no Ojoboom to defend as the Frenzy's popped.
And Warchi is in a lot of trouble right away. Forcing the purification means Ataraxia already shredded through Dracomarino. That ultimate had a PrettyPriMe. Warchi's probably going to fall here. Does get up into the sky, but it's not going to matter. The whole squad waiting for him on the bottom.
And the walls will crush him, and EmilZy will give a cheeky little taunt as now the Titan is under attack. And that's going to be the end of game 2, set 1. Obey take it 2-0. But it wasn't easy. No. I don't think that was easy.
I mean, game 2 was a little bit easier. Game 1 was very back and forth, and I think the Papis in particular can really go back to that VOD, watch it, and really identify a couple spots where they need to get better, but have a lot to say, hey, we did this really well. Let's continue to do this. Oh, we can do a little bit more of what we did at the 15-minute mark. Things like that can really help these teams that are starting to just break into the SPL start to move up those ranks.
Great start then for Obey getting the 2-0. Papis, though, don't look too bad at all. We'll be back after the break with set 2. It's all Europe all day.